Each year, Fortune magazine publishes a most admired list of top companies in the United States. Firms are rated in these 8 dimensions: innovativeness, quality of management, long-term investment value, social responsibility to the community and the environment, people management, quality of products and services, financial soundness, wise use of corporate assets, and international companies are rated on a 9th dimension: effectiveness in doing business globally. Thank you for joining me. My name is Laura, and I will be taking you through a review of L3Harris, located in Camden, New Jersey, reviewing a few of the 8 dimensions L3Harris appears to be underperforming in. In June 29th of 2019, L3Harris Technology announced the successful completion of the merger between Harris Corporation and L3 Technologies. They became L3Harris. This was followed by Aerojet Rocketdyne acquisition in 2023. Now, we list the problem as being L3Harris is challenged with the complexities of post-mergers acquisitions. Their underperforming dimensions are operational effectiveness, supply chain resiliencies, and the ability to integrate change management. The symptoms noted are poor program execution, delivery shortcomings in the supply chain area, and lingering need to cut costs throughout the workforce. So the ramifications of underperformance for L3 are financial impacts, which means volatile margins, as well as potential for reduced returns. The operational and strategic impacts are program execution challenges, as well as focus on cost cutting. Human capital impacts are low employee morale and high turnover. Negative impacts of layoffs. And then the consequences of failure to improve these things are a loss of competitive advantage, as well as customer dissatisfaction and lost contracts. There can also be a decline in the market valuation. Let's move on to analyzing L3Harris's structure, design, and culture. L3 Technologies has evolved its business structure since the 2019 merger of L3 Technologies and Harris Corporation. Initially operating with 4 segments, streamlined into 3, and returning to 4 segments with the 2023 acquisition of Aerojet Rocketdyne. L3Harris's design is characterized by an ongoing effort to balance efficiency and innovation within a large segment-based structure. The company aims to unify its diverse business units and processes into a cohesive enterprise, focusing on strategic areas and maximizing synergies from those acquisitions. L3Harris's organizational structure is marked by dynamic segmentation, adjusting its business units to align with the strategic priorities and growth through acquisitions. The company is also moving toward an integrated, enterprise-wide design, consolidating functions while aiming to balance the benefits of scale with the need for agility to meet specialized customer demands. Now, L3Harris's product and engineering design strategy utilizes a modular open systems architecture, or MOSA, for adaptable systems and employs digital engineering and simulation to optimize development. The company supports these capabilities with specialized engineering teams, providing full lifecycle support from concept to testing. The company consistently refines its strategic design and offerings to target high margin, high growth sectors and to address emerging technologies, markets, acquisitions, and shifting customer needs. The relevance of L3Harris's organizational structure is the structural instability has constant shifts in segment organization from the 4 again to 3 and then back to 4 again. This can cause confusion and fatigue. This instability can make it difficult for employees to know where they fit into a broader company strategy, which is critical for morale and engagement. Centralization challenges come about the move to integrate different functions such as IT and procurement is intended to create efficiency and consistency. However, when implemented poorly, this can lead to slow, bureaucratic processes and disconnect management. This is frustrating for employees and it can stifle productivity. If poor resource allocation is utilized, some employees will report being overworked and under-resourced, suggesting that the organizational design, particularly in areas like talent acquisition, is not effectively allocating personnel to meet workloads. Now, the relevance of L3Harris's design is that the company's design strategy is to focus on mergers and acquisition, which contributes to internal turmoil and affects effectiveness. Integration changes are the design philosophy built on combining different companies. Decentralized L3 with centralized Harris has created friction in incompatible systems. They don't speak to each other, differential operational models. They've all led to changes and inefficiencies, particularly regarding the IT and engineering tools. There is also a focus on cost cutting. The emphasis on post-merger synergies and short-term financial gains can lead to decisions that negatively impact employees. This includes layoffs and push for efficiency that can increase stress and reduce morale. Then we have stagnant innovation. When there is a struggle for innovation, it's linked to a design that can prioritize processes over progress. Some employees feel that the slow approval process hinders agility and then prevents them from keeping up with the evolving technological demands of their projects. The relevance of L3Harris's culture is the gap between L3Harris's stated values and its lived culture is highly relevant to the challenges it faces. Inconsistent management and lack of accountability. The disconnect between the leadership and the employee is a central cultural problem. Reviews cite a pattern of poor management, favoritism, and a lack of accountability, particularly at the senior levels. This erodes trust and undermines the company's stated values of integrity and respect. Sometimes there is disparity in employee treatment. The cultural perception of different employee groups also impacts effectiveness. Some employees feel like commodities, while others praise supportive colleagues. And this inconsistency can suggest that the company's culture is not uniformly positive and or supportive. This can impact morale as well as retention. Now, influence on organizational effectiveness. In that area, we're going to talk about performance and growth. And while L3Harris sees growth in the new acquisitions, such as Aerojet Rocketdyne, some segments have experienced declining revenue, slower organic growth, and inconsistent employee performance, potentially tied to low morale. These threaten the company's competitive position. Let's talk about project execution. Now, the combination of disconnected management, a stressed workforce, and slow internal processes has led to failures in project execution, including missed deadlines and damage to customer credibility. Reputation and talent management are negative aspects of L3Harris's culture, and management, as highlighted in employees' reviews, create reputational risks that could damage the employees or the employer brand and make it more difficult to attract and retain top talent. This can affect their ethical reputation. In addition to that, the numerous reports of ethics violations being ignored or mishandled directly conflict with the company's stated values and damage trust, both internally and potentially externally. A plan for change. Using Kotter's 8-step model, phase 1 will be to mobilize the organization. And that will start with step 1, will create a sense of urgency. Based on employee feedback highlighting low morale, these issues are needing to be changed, with emphasizing how the issues threaten the long-term strategic goals of the company. We want to establish the challenge, connect to strategy, present the data, and share anonymous survey data and feedback to illustrate the current state of morale and highlight the gap between the company's stated values and employees' perceptions. So step 2, we're going to form a powerful guideline coalition. And this coalition should represent all levels and departments of the organization to address the feeling of disconnect from senior leadership. You want to have diverse representation. You want to be able to build trust and allow the employees empowerment to have the authority and resources to drive the change process. This will ensure that they have the credibility to be taken seriously by the wider employee base. Now, step 3 would be to develop a vision and strategy. So the guiding coalition will craft a new, compelling version for the company's culture that would address the consistency and involvement gaps. Future-focused visions, integrated feedback, and a crystal clear strategy are needed to create strategic initiatives for achieving this vision. Examples might include overhauling the talent management system, standardizing policies, and implementing transparent communication channels. Step 4, communication or communicate the vision. Effective communication is critical when trying to overcome cynicism and build employee buy-in. You want to use all the channels that are available, including town halls, intranet articles, manager-led discussions, and you want to make it repeatedly and consistently to allow for communication in this new vision. You want to make it brilliant, things that people will remember, storytelling to illustrate how the new culture will work, rather than just relying on sterile corporate messaging. Top-down approach. Act with integrity. Senior leadership must walk the talk by visibly demonstrating the new values. This includes addressing past mistakes, showing more employee appreciation, and following through on all promises. For phase 2, you implement the change. That means remove your obstacles, target your inconsistent policies, reform performance management, and empower action. So give the teams more autonomy and remove unnecessary bureaucratic hurdles that stifle innovation and frustrate employees. Step 6, generate a short-term win. Quick, visible successes can build momentum and convince skeptics that the change is real. With all that, we want quick policy fixes, and we want to recognize early adopters to these new policies. We want to track metrics, as numbers never lie. Key metrics like show measurable progress, like employee retention, promotion rates for internal candidates, and employee survey results. Step 7 would be to sustain acceleration. We increase the invest more in leadership development programs that focus on empathy, transparency, and employee engagement. Launch new projects. Refresh the coalition. You want to make sure that you never have a burnt out leader. And if you do, you have somebody to backfill that position. Bring on new members so that onto the guiding coalition to prevent that burnout. Phase 3, embed the change. Step 8, Anchor changes in culture by implementing the new cultural behaviors and practices as permanent part of the company's identity. Connect to success. Integrate these into your hiring processes. This should promote and ensure leadership succession planning and promotions favor leaders who champion the new culture and demonstrate the desired behaviors. This creates a sustainable pipeline of talent committed to maintaining the cultural shift. Addressing challenges to change. L3 Harris should go about addressing challenges to change by strategically executing the Cotter change plan with a specific focus on mitigating the negative effects from the 2019 merger and recent negative press. Step 1 and 2 would be to counter cynicism and establish credibility. As a leader, we always need to acknowledge the past. We need to earn trust from the ground up and demonstrate to them. Don't talk to employees. Don't just tell them. When communicating the sense of urgency, back up every claim with honest data, not just corporate platitudes. Use anonymized employee feedback and operational metrics to show how cultural shortcomings impact productivity and innovation. And step 3 and 4, focus the vision and clarify benefits. Bridge the internal and the external gaps. Make it personal. When you're commuting with the vision, tailor the message to different employee groups. Explain what a more consistent and engaging culture means for an engineer, a technician, and a manager, respectively. Clarify what's in it for me with each employee. Empower communication and equip managers with communication skills and the resources to talk honestly with their teams. Addressing challenges continued. Step 5, remove internal obstacles. Listen actively and empathize. Target consistent policies. Acknowledge and resolve policy discrepancies left over from the merger. A standardized approach to benefits, compensation, and performance management will help address feelings of inequity and create a more consistent employee experience. Address micromanagement. That's a good one. Step 6, generate immediate tangible wins by focusing on highly visible and low risk improvements. Use employee input for quick wins. Use feedback from the Change Coalition and employee surveys to prioritize early wins. Focus on what employees care about most. L3 Harris can demonstrate that it is listening and acting on their concerns. Step 7, sustain momentum with new talent practices. Integrate the change into talent management. Leverage early success stories to reinforce the link between the new behaviors and business success. Continuously refresh the Change Coalition. By keeping a fresh rotation of people in there, you're always going to get new feedback, fresh perspective, and no one gets burnt out. Of course, this is all made up of a volunteer army of employees who enlisted in step 4. Step 8, embed change into the culture. Link rewards to new behaviors. Integrate into onboarding and training. Incorporate the new vision and values into all new employee orientation and continuous training programs. This should ensure that the new culture becomes the established norm for all employees, regardless of being new or old. L3 Harris must take a really long look internally and realign its organizational subsystems to address the internal inconsistencies and low employee involvement that arose from the 2019 merger. Using reward and compensation systems, performance-based compensation can overhaul the current performance management system to ensure pay, bonuses, and promotions that are consistently linked to performance rather than favoritism, as employees have alleged. Publicize the new transparent system to rebuild trust. Incentivize desired behaviors. Standardize benefits and policies. Number two, information and communication systems establish transparent channels. Improve the internal tools and use consistent messaging. Three, recruitment, selection, and onboarding define and select for cultural fit. Redefining and hiring criteria to explicitly include new culture values. Train recruiters and hiring managers to assess candidates for their ability to contribute to a more consistent and engaging work environment. Invest in onboarding. Rebuild talent acquisition. Maybe training and development, empathy, and engagement training. Connect training to vision so that it ensures all development opportunities are aligned with the new vision, promoting the skills needed for a more collaborative, agile, and ethical culture. Organizational structure and processes, standardized processes, using empower action, clarify roles and responsibilities. In doing so, after the recent segment realignment, this ensures that roles and responsibilities are clearly defined across newly combined teams to reduce confusion and improve coordination. L3Harris has publicly discussed lessons learned related to specific technical and compliance areas, but has been less forthcoming about the internal cultural missteps. Technical and compliance related supply chain management issues, export controls, and 401k management. This was when the 2024 settlement of the 401k lawsuit over excessive fees highlighted the lesson that lower costs and offer cost-effective investment options fulfill their fiduciary duties. Cultural and merger-related integration, inconsistency and micromanagement, ignoring employee feedback, employees account on with accounts on Glassdoor suggested senior management ignores or misinterprets employee feedback, such as attributing mass resignations to IT issues rather than cultural toxicity. What L3Harris should avoid in the future is based on lessons learned from these challenges. Top-down imposition of culture, discounting employee concerns, neglecting internal consistencies, focusing solely on external metrics, and compromising integrity for profit. Following multiple allegations and settlements for financial misconduct, the company must prioritize ethical business practices over short-term gains to avoid legal and reputational damage. Based on its past challenges, L3Harris should engage in a structured, multi-pronged approach to formally capture lessons learned. The company must move beyond its public relations narrative and directly address internal issues of inconsistency, low involvement, and ethical concerns. This will require intentional processes to gather, analyze, and apply feedback, ensuring that cultural mistakes from the 2019 merger are not repeated. In summary, reviving L3Harris's solutions through conscious change is a move beyond the gradual process of small adjustments over time. Instead of large overhaul adjustments to consciously reshape the organization's practices and values, the focus is on internal health to sustain external performance. The progress is steady rather than sudden or drastic, and with each step building on the one before it. Thank you.